Italy entered World War I allied with the Entente, wanting to gather a sphere of influence in the Balkans and Mediterranean, lifting itself onto the global stage. It abandoned its former allies in the Triple Alliance for these hopes that it had been promised to Italy by the Entente. But alas, it was for naught, as they only gained South Tyrol, Trentino, Istria, and the city of Zara, which all happened to be small pieces of land. This was partly due to their lackluster performance in the Great War, but also because of Serbia's hopes to create a single South Slavic state, which included the lands it had claimed such as Dalmatia. This land Italy was unable to take left anger and disappointment in the Italian people's hearts, or Vittoria Mulitia, named Victory. But this leaves the question, what if Italy was able to take the lands it claimed? What if the Italian army was victorious on the Austrian front? What if Italy won World War I? In order for this to happen, Italy would have had to start industrialization earlier, preferably still in the late 19th century. With this industrial power, it could develop a larger military industry as well. This would allow Italy to become much more prepared for a large-scale conflict. With this military and industrial power, they could have possibly defeated the Austrians on the Isonzo River before the Germans could send reinforcements. I cannot guarantee this though, but for the sake of scenario, the Italians defeat the Austrians before the Germans can send reinforcements. This allows the Italians to flood into modern-day Slovenia by the time German reinforcements come. The Italian army is in high morale and much better prepared. But I could soon see a stalemate around the southeast of modern Austria occur, as the Austrians and Germans are ready for the conflict until the final years of the war. As the enemy armies are low on morale and tired of years of stalemate, the Italians might then launch a successful offensive into the Austrian heartland and maybe even reach Graz. By this point, the Germans are forced to sign the Treaty of Versailles. Due to Italy's good performance in the war, they get much more land than they got in our world, including parts of the Dalmatian coast and more allied support for the invasion of Albania. In this world, they might even beat the Turks in their war of independence and get the land they were promised in southwestern areas of Anatolia. After the treaty, due to their industrial economy, they wouldn't face a destroyed economy and could make it into the 1920s with little harm. But most of the damage would happen politically, as these new lands would be hard to take care of. I could imagine the left of Italian politics being against Italy continuing to hold these lands they were awarded in the treaty and wanting to focus on Italy itself, while the right seeing this as an opportunity to gain a sphere of influence, which they would. One of the first countries I would see joining the sphere of influence is Greece. Italy would give them northern Epirus from Albania to Greece and support their claims for an alliance. This would better relations, and I could see Italy supporting their economy. Next would be Yugoslavia. In this timeline, Italy supports their claims on Bulgaria, which they have due to not getting the Dalmatian coast. With this, they could bring their relations to new heights, and would be an important allies to control the Adriatic Sea. Their final ally in their sphere of influence would probably be Hungary. I could see Italy supporting their claims on nearby nations and allowing them to have expansionist ideas for them joining their sphere of influence. The Hungarians could claim land in southern Slovakia as well as Transylvania, using the Italians to their advantage. Throughout the 1920s, Italy's economy would boom. Standards of living would increase from the industrial north to the agricultural south. But this would soon come to an end, and by the 1930s, the Great Depression would reach Italy. Its economy would be hit extremely hard, more so in the south than in the north. This would spike up political tension, so not only the economy but also in politics. Farmers from the rural south who were hit harder would start supporting socialist causes, while in the north would go against socialism, but it believes the economy needs a few companies to be bailed out. The North and the South would be at each other's throats constantly throughout this time. Their economy would eventually heal, but Italy would become like France, politically divided to the extreme and unprepared for the war that was coming. Because of the political mess Italy was in, their army would be severely underdeveloped. Due to this, the Italians would try not to anger the Germans during their rise to power. This would be shown in the remilitarization of the Rhineland, which the Italians would support, but the Anschluss would anger the Italians, and their government would object. But when the Germans would threaten them with war, they would back down. When the Germans would occupy Czechoslovakia, the Italians in their sphere of influence would see this as an opportunity to give Hungary their desired lands, which the Germans would give into. Upon the Germans' invasion of Poland, the Italians would seek neutrality, but this would be short-lived, as in 1941 they would invade Italy, Yugoslavia, Hungary, and Greece with the support of their Turkish ally. The unprepared Italian army would fall within weeks, and the Germans would annex the north and set up puppets in the south, in the form of the papacy and Sicily. Vichy France would also occupy Piedmont. Italian resistance would be strong and play a vital role in securing the Italian peninsula from the Germans. In 1944, the British would invade from Libya and capture Sicily relatively quickly. This would force the Germans to fight three fronts, including the Western and Eastern fronts. Italian resistance would host revolts across the peninsula. By the time they made it to the papacy, the Pope, who was in power by the Germans, would surrender his title and land to the British. This would anger the Germans, who would quickly seize Rome, and then a bloody siege of Rome would occur. This would cripple German forces, and they'd be driven back to Austria. The Italian king would then announce the reconquering of Albania, Dalmatia, and liberation of Greece. The liberation of these lands would be quick and easy. After the war, Italy would give independence to its overseas qualities as well as Albania, and join NATO with Greece. Italy would go on to have extremely good diplomatic relations with Greece and France. This early industrialization would allow Italy to quickly rebuild its economy and industry. The main difference with this Italy and our own would be 1. Italy is more industrialized. 2. They hold much more lands around the Adriatic coast. And 3. A higher standard of living due to this early industrialization. Thank you for watching, and I hope you watch soon.